Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever it is to everyone. Everyone hear me okay? Okay, so just to hop right in, login issue. So yeah, I'm aware there's a login issue. Um, I can try to hop on that right after. One thing I'm curious about, do we know any details? Is that only for older versions of the game? The sense I got was maybe it's 1.7.19 or older, or do we know? Just because I wasn't seeing it myself when I was testing, but I haven't tested older builds. Hello, hello. Yeah, this is very chaotic. Like 30 people join and 20 leave. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. What's this about? This is about whatever we feel like talking about. I don't have too much of an agenda today. Mostly just talking about game stuff, things that need to be fixed, stuff coming up, how to do modding, stuff like that. Yeah, no, my question is like, does it happen on newer builds or is it only older ones? Because I'm not able to reproduce it on a newer build. Is it happening on like the latest build? Newer as well. Okay. All right. Maybe I just need to. I was making a bunch of changes. Well, not a bunch. I was making some changes to like how the game connects to regional servers and things like that. So maybe something got messed up. Um, I'll see if I can add some more logging or something to it. We can discuss Call of Duty if you want, or other games. Uh, what other mobile games are popular right now? I don't know. What is COD mobile? Is that I don't know. What's the big shiny new game these days? My comments on Minecraft. I haven't played a ton of Minecraft. I love it. I mean, I love the concept, the whole like building things. And I was visiting my family over the weekend. For my nephew had a birthday, he's turning 4, so he got some like Legos. So that got me thinking. I don't know. Did a lot of like playing with Legos with my nephew over the weekend. So it got me thinking a bit about like Minecraft and stuff like that, where kind of open-ended block building type things. Yes, all the earth must play my game. Why you despawn for long? You mean like why am I like radio silence for long? That's um I kind of if I disappear for days aside from coffee days, it's largely because I'm just trying to get work done. It's not like I'm trying to avoid you guys or I hate you or anything like that. It's mostly just that I'm bad at multitasking. So if I want to like get any uh, productive coding done, I kind of have to like block out the world. Um, so apologies if that means I go radio silent for days at a time or weeks in some cases. Best mobile game. Oh man, I am not up to date on like new mobile games. I was pretty good some years ago when I was first kind of getting into mobile games and porting stuff to mobile. I was decent at like playing mobile games. So I played a lot of like Boom Beach was the the big fancy new one at the time. So that was like 10 years ago. Played a good amount of like Clash Royale. Clash Royale is still around. Anyone play Clash Royale? I liked that one. Uh oh, plugins in Bomb Squad are so broken. Why are they broken? Is it just because of API changes? Or well, you never know. sometimes, sometimes maybe someone just writes broken code. Well, there haven't been too. I mean, I'm hopefully the API changes aren't. I mean, I feel like I say this every time I change something. It's like hopefully things will change less now, but I really mean it. The whole breaking things apart into feature sets and all the weird stuff that happened in midway through 1.7 here. My hope is that that will help stabilize APIs and things a little bit going forward. This is a tricky topic. The whole, I mean, most big APIs, if you're writing something for like an operating system or whatever, like the APIs pretty much have to stabilize because there's so many people writing things for it that Uh, there would be like crazy outrage if things kept breaking. Um, so I apologize that I do sometimes keep breaking stuff. It's a balance though with like smaller things. You can be a bit more flexible and like change things faster and stuff. And I think you have to kind of take advantage of that being like a smaller game or a smaller setup. Um, for me with like Bomb Squad, it's like trying to keep everything backwards compatible. It would just prevent the game from improving, or like it would just get bogged down. Because for me, a lot of times, like stuff that I wrote 10 years ago, I mean, even the stuff that I write now is not amazing or anything. I feel like I write things correctly the second time. So that's what a lot of these changes are. Is basically seeing how I wrote something and being like, ew, I see how it should be now, and then going back and changing it. But unfortunately, that means that sometimes it breaks plugins and things like that. So, I'm trying to be conscious of that. What game is this? Call of Duty. I wrote Call of Duty. No. Uh, can you look into this issue? Scaling in Windows decreases resolution. I think I know this issue. Yes. So this is kind of a known issue. Not to nerd out for just a moment. Um, but basically, yeah, like Windows has scaling factors or something where if you set Windows to be like high resolution, things should render at like higher resolution. But Bomb Squad is currently not doing that. It's still like it'll be fuzzy. Um, and after looking into it, it seems like the best way to deal with that is right now SDL3. Like right now, the game uses what's called SDL for displays and stuff like that. And there's a big new version of it coming out called SDL3, and that basically adds a lot better support for things like scaling. Apparently in Windows, from what I read. So once SDL3 comes, it looks like it would be kind of easy to fix that problem. It would be fixable now, but it looks like we'd have to like fix it in a certain way and then fix it in a different way when SDL3 happens. So my hope is to see when SDL3 is gonna come out and try to jump on board then. Plugin editor, plug. Cool. Wait, what was all this? Cool, cool, cool. All right, yeah, I'll definitely take a look at this. Good stuff. Yeah, the work in progress versions you were showing me were pretty cool. So yeah, new language to Bomb Squad, extra symbols in it. So the one kind of limitation we have, well, I mean you can like the Android version and the Mac version currently can display like any characters, like the full Unicode range. So this is kind of a tangent, but yeah, I still need to fix like the Windows and Linux versions so that they can do that also. Because right now I know a lot of people are playing with like Arabic or other international fonts that or symbols or letter systems, whatever you call them, that currently don't show up on the Windows and Linux like certain versions. So it's that's up there on my to-do list of things to fix, is to get it so that like everybody can view like the Chinese language or whatever, or Arabic, or any of the ones beyond like Latin and Cyrillic. Ugh, Chinese. Oh, the traditional. Yeah, I think I want to say I get the sense that the simplified Chinese translation is okay, but yeah, I don't really I can't speak for the traditional Chinese, so I could see that being bad. That's yet another thing on my to do list is revamping the translation editor. I want to do something. A lot of things that I've seen with people submitting translations is, someone will submit a bunch of translations. Maybe they did it from, Google Translate or something. And then someone else will submit a bunch that like replace a lot of those. And then someone else will submit a bunch that replace a lot of those. So it's hard for me to know like which ones are good and which ones are bad. So I try to like do a snap judgment on, which ones to approve, which ones to leave. Um, but I'd like to do something, I feel like that could be a problem solved through technology, like these are 3 translations that people have done, like vote for the best one, something like that. Something where people could kind of help weed out the bad translations a little bit. One text widget with different colors for specific letters or words, can it be done? Not at the moment. That would be super cool to add. I feel like the text widget is due for a rewrite or a clean upgrade or something like that. It'd be cool to add features like that. I've been working a lot with the website lately because I've been working on asset packages. And so, I've been really digging into, HTML and how you, make different chunks of text different colors and things like that. So it gets me thinking about like how we could do kind of something much simpler, but, similar features for our text system. Like another big thing that we're missing is like word wrapping, just having it so right now, if you're doing any translation, you'll notice that you have to match the like new lines and have the same number of lines because the game doesn't have any way to like put text in a box and have it wrap. So that would be a good thing to do as well. One thing I've learned though, which is a little scary to me, is that some languages are very particular about like how words wrap and things like that. So apparently like in Japanese, like you can't have a new line after certain letters or words or something like that, which is like, whoa. So that's a little scary. Oh, thank you. That's awesome to hear. I love hearing little stories like that, like people that get into like Python coding or start writing games or something like that. So yeah, have you started writing anything or just kind of like learning or? What's that, ATM, a slot machine? No, that's my little arcade cabinet back there. I've talked about this a few times before. It's a little arcade with. It was a startup they were selling arcade units with old games. You could like download a bunch of old arcade games. Unfortunately, they went bankrupt, but it was a really cool. It's really cool hardware, and so I got Bomb Squad on there and some other stuff. How can I contribute in translating Bomb Squad UI to language? Oh, yeah. If you'd like to add a language that's not there yet, just ping me. I can add ones to the list. So yeah, just message me on here, or if I don't respond, just message me again. Be like, please add blah, please add blah. So call it an ATM. Yes, actually, yes, I have an ATM in my office here in case I run out of cash. When my servers, servers are expensive. I got to go get cash out so I can pay for my servers. Do you want to add new characters and maps? Yes, definitely. There's, I feel like Roadmap Seagull is on the verge of showing up here, but yeah, 1.8. The plan is to start adding that stuff in 1.8. I'm on the final stretch. There he is, Roadmap Seagull. I'm on the final stretch of 1.8. I mean, it could be it's taken me a while, as things do. Everything takes me longer than I think. But yeah, I'm working on the asset packages stuff right now. So that's why I've been kind of, any radio silence or whatever is because I am just heads down, focused on asset packages. I can actually give a really quick little demo here. They don't do anything like, they're not fully functional yet, but you can kind of see how they'll work. So, all right, real quick asset package demo. So you come into here. So we have workspaces. If you don't know, workspaces are where you can write little bits of code and whatever, do modding like through a browser. But they will be expanding to do other things. So like you'll be able to do asset workspaces. And so basically for that, here's my little testing one. So there's this little file called workspace.toml, which is like a configuration file. And if we come in here and then there's a lot of this will probably be like, there will be a GUI to do most of this, so you won't have to actually like code this part. But basically you just say like, hey, this is a assets v1 workspace. And here are some random values on the workspace. Like, I don't know. These are all dummy values. None of these are real yet. And same here. So this will just be like for individual files in my workspace. It can be like what resolution do I want to export things at, or what compression quality, or whatever else. So anyway, but this little line, this little magic line here says type equals assets v1. That basically says like this workspace is an assets workspace. It's this like different thing. So you get this little like asset totals and little things here. It says like this will export as texture, blah. Um, so essentially, it'll just be like dragging PNG and JPEG files and maybe OBJ files for meshes into these workspaces, and then to export this, you'll come back and create an asset package. And to do that, you'll just do like make an asset package called like my awesome assets, best assets ever. And we're going to use that workspace for the assets. So apply there, publish a test version, and then boom, now we have like a asset package version. So we can copy this ID, and basically what we will be able to do is paste this into, if you want to like add built-in assets to your game, you'll just like paste this into the project config file, or there'll be a different route for like automatically downloading stuff. But basically there's like this magical thing that exists online now that will contain all those textures in all the different formats. So you don't have to like manually compress things to different formats and package them up and stuff. You'll just like throw things in a workspace and publish it. So yeah, I can't actually show that in the game yet. I'm still wiring things up, but I am furiously wiring, and very, very soon we'll be able to actually like see this in progress. My first plan is to replace all the assets in the game with asset packages. So that will be super cool. That way, like I'll be like dog fooding my own stuff. So it also means if you're making like a modded total conversion, you can basically replace all the assets in the game with your own versions of them. Or you want to just like scribble all over everything and make it weird looking. You can totally do that. Or add new assets, or strip out assets if you're making like a spin-off game that you don't need most of the stuff or whatever. So that's the plan. So this same little asset package thing will be used for both built-in assets, but also like dynamically downloaded assets. So this is the big feature in 1.8 is this stuff. So it's coming along. Not done yet, but working as fast as I can. Wah! Bottom nav bar disappeared from Ballistica.net index page. Oh, like when you're not signed. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, that is a good note. Is that only when you're not signed in, or always? I have been furiously revamping a lot of the backend HTML generation stuff there. Kind of nerding out with like learning CSS and stuff too. When not signed in, okay. Yeah, I think I simplified that code and I must have done something slightly wrong. So thanks for the heads up. I will get that fixed. Almost nice. Yeah, my standard go-to names, it's always just like whatever stream of consciousness words come into my head, like Dinglepoo. Dinglepoo's a common one, I think. Do you want to add new characters? Oh, don't want to do the process. Well, the whole point of the 1.8 stuff is that once asset packages are out in the world, then adding new stuff will be kind of in the modern, future-proof way. And yeah, because like anything that I add right now, I have to do it in my 15-year-old janky asset pipeline that I really want to get rid of. So it's like I really just don't want to add new stuff there, because then I have to rip it all out and move it to the asset package system. So I just want to get asset packages done, and then adding stuff will not feel like I'm giving myself extra work. So that's kind of the reason for wanting to get 1.8 out the door first. Ah, well, if it's evening for some of you and you need a sleep aid, I'm happy to help. I know this. I never know like how technical to get with explanations and stuff here. It's like if I do like live coding or things like that, it's like probably a few people are getting something out of it, but half the other people are probably falling asleep. So let me know if I'm being too if I'm not reading the audience correctly.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on. Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
What's even happening there?
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on. Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on.
So much going on. I feel like I'm probably missing the point of, or probably missing what I'm supposed to see, but. Online play and unrated. Oh yeah, yeah. That's interesting. It's funny. I'm not like just jumping into the public servers a lot, so yeah. I'm sure the chats are probably crazy. Well, again, though, my plan going forward with squad system is to have any sort of chats just be amongst your friends. So unless you are explicitly looking for crazy public chats or crazy public servers, it's not something you'll run into. Sort of worked at Pixar. Yeah, I was at Pixar for a long time. I was on the visual effects team, so I did lots of fire and smoke and things blowing up and basically anything that moves that's not a character. That was what the visual effects team was all about. So, which I love that kind of stuff. That's kind of why I made a game about blowing things up and stuff. I'd love to get back into trying to work on the graphics and kind of bring them up to date for where phone tech is and stuff, like make fancier explosions and stuff like that. So many things to do, so few hours in the day. So online play and unrated. You mean like a warning, or what do you mean by online play and unrated? Or just like that would be. Because yeah, I do want to. I mean, as long as we do have kind of the crazy public servers with random chat, if we need like a warning message or something, that's cool. Oh, online play is unrated. Yeah, maybe something like that would be good in terms of, yeah, like legality and things. I should learn about that. But again, then the squad system, like that's, I mean, I guess your friends can say crazy stuff. So even if you're playing with friends, like you could still run into weird stuff. But it's like, do you need to like have a warning on that? Like, warning, your friends may be crazy. Technical programmatic VFX type. It was kind of half and half. Like that was, not to get off on too much of a visual effects or Pixar tangent, but that was the fun thing about the visual effects team is it was like the whole spectrum of people. Like some people were very technical and like had PhDs and writing simulators and really really deep mathy stuff, and other people were just like super artistic and not very technical. So it's a whole spectrum. Just like people got assigned on what they were good at. I like to think I'm in the middle. Like I went to art school and I've always loved art and drawing and things like that. You couldn't tell from Bomb Squad because everything is intentionally made to look like simple, like a children's playset sort of thing. But yeah, I love the technical part too. I feel like I've gotten sucked in more into the technical part recently, but I love the art part too. So that was the fun thing about the visual effects team, is like that whole spectrum. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, that could be good to have. Again, my preference is to just get away from exposing people to that as soon as possible. Um, but that could be good as well. Uh, yeah. So about how to get into programming, mostly by like on my own. Again, I took like a decent amount of like math and stuff and back in high school, but then I went to art school, moved to California. I went to go to art school here, but I just spent a lot of my free time coding. So I always kind of wanted to make a game. It was like my hobby. So I like my 4 or 5 years of art school, I just spent my free time like trying to write games in the background, or simulation stuff or whatever. I wound up doing a lot of simulation stuff at Pixar, which was based on, Bomb Squad is actually the first kind of substantial thing I wrote after a bunch of kind of failed attempts at making games throughout college. So I learned like rigid body dynamics and stuff like that from coding Bomb Squad, and then I took a lot of that to Pixar and kind of built on that. So I built some neat tools at Pixar that we used for a lot of things, like if you've seen Up, like all the balloons, all the simulated balloons, and Toy Story 3, there was a big like bunch of trash at the end and all simulated. So that was all my simulator stuff, which was based on stuff I learned writing Bomb Squad. So but yeah, there are horror stories about the visual effects industry. I feel like I was lucky with Pixar. It was a lot less nomadic. Like a lot of people, I had a lot of friends that worked at visual effects, and they'd wind up, they'd move to London for a year or two and work at a studio, and then Vancouver for a year or two, work somewhere, and then back to California. And there's a lot of people just moving, like whoever has jobs at the moment and stuff. So Pixar was less like that. It was pretty stable. Unfortunately, they just had a bunch of layoffs this last week, like the biggest layoffs they've had, just because of Disney is kind of shifting their structure. Originally, they had Pixar doing a bunch of Disney Plus stuff, but then they're shifting them back to doing more feature film stuff. So they had let a certain amount of people go, unfortunately. But so even Pixar is not 100% stable, but it was more stable than most of the visual effects industry. I don't know if things are getting better. I keep hearing people talking about unionizing or things like that. So maybe it's getting better. I'm not sure. But yeah, my bridge between the two, like I said, was stuff like Bomb Squad. Like if you write, these, like even then, like writing rigid body dynamics, I was doing it for interactive real-time stuff for like Bomb Squad, but the same stuff applied, it worked really well like at Pixar for offline stuff. One thing that was kind of fun about it is it was fast. A lot of people working at Pixar and working in film, they're used to like these very heavy, slow simulators and things like that. That they do a good job, but they take a long time. Because when you're writing a movie, you have if your computer renders for 6 hours to spit out a frame, that doesn't matter. Obviously with a game, you're constrained because it has to run at 60 frames per second or whatever you're aiming for. But it is still nice, like working on a movie, to have tools that work fast, because then you can iterate fast and feel, artistic. And that's why a lot of, you're seeing a lot more things with like Unreal being used for, TV and film production now, which I think people love because it's, real time. So that's getting even, like the two worlds are getting closer and closer all the time. So it's I kind of like that. Cool. Yeah, I'd be happy to chat VFX and all that stuff. I'm anytime. So yeah, just give me a holler. I've been out of. I've been doing this game stuff now for. I left Pixar in 2013, so it's starting to be a long time ago at this point. Been doing the game stuff, the indie games thing for a little over 10 years now. So I'm just doing Bomb Squad now. I feel very lucky that Bomb Squad has a kind of sustained audience, and I'm working on this 2.0 stuff and adding to it, and I'm treating it more like a continuing project and not like a single game or anything like that. So if that's what all this stuff is about, the 1.8 milestones and the 2.0 milestones and the separating out the engine into like Ballistica versus Bomb Squad, stuff like that. But I'd still like, there's this part of me at the back of my mind that I'd love to, take the physics engine in Bomb Squad and like really go to town with it, like improve it a lot, and then make it usable for offline stuff. Like that would be fun. I do kind of miss that aspect of, working on movies and stuff where you can run a simulator and then like resim the same thing a million times and try to get it perfect. It's fun to make things that are, spontaneous and real time, but it's also fun to kind of noodle things for a while. So I feel like a lot of this stuff could be used for both. So that's yet another thing on my million line to-do list. hopping down the line here. Even after squad system, people get randomly matched. So the plan with the squad system is to have things not be have no enemy chat by default. So you'll have emotes or something like that, something that is like limited and sanitized to a degree. You know, you can spit out emotes or whatever, but if there's any chatting, it'll only be with your. Well, I guess if. Oh, you're talking teammates. Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point actually. Like if you were one. Are there any games that have randomly matched teammates where, like, would it make sense to not even have chat with your teammates? I could see for, you know, a casual game like this, like, you're not probably going to be talking strategy too much. Or maybe that could be up to, like, the situation, you know, maybe, like, by default, it could be, like, casual play where you get a random teammate, but you're not actually able to chat with them. But then if you want to do, like, you know, hardcore mode or something, or, like, ladder leagues, then maybe that would put you into a place with chat. If BS voice chat drops, I would. Oh, Brawl Stars has only emotes. Yeah, I kind of feel like for casual players, just limiting to emotes just keeps it friendlier. Like I said, it could always be an option to turn that on for the people that want to take things more seriously. But I just kind of feel like if you're a casual player, you're more likely to just run into, spam nonsense through chat than anything useful. I guess there are always stories you hear of like people that met friends online and, you know, struck up a conversation. But I guess games have that too, where like maybe there's some way you can, you know, like friend invite one of your teammates after or something like that, or, you know, strike up a conversation with them. Am I American? Yes, I live in California, so I'm American. Met 4 people. Oh, that's awesome to see in real life. Yeah, I love hearing stories like that too, when people like, or just people I met on here, or, you know, just little communities that form around this stuff. I guess that's the flip side of this discussion is like you don't want to shut down things that can like help people make communities. So if preventing people from chatting at all in the game like is going to have that effect, it's like maybe there's some balance there. Yes, I would really like this. I want to make. I mean, I want to do a lot more stuff myself. You know, once this stuff like the asset packages is done and things like that, where I can like add these features and have them just go out to everybody, and I don't have to like have everybody upgrade their game or update their game. Then yeah, I'd love to kind of expand that. I mean, all of this stuff, like if you go into the spaz.cc file, like the C++ code, you can technically like add your own things, but it's, you know, it's pretty in depth, and making it so it would work like in online games like that, that's not an easy thing. So I'd love to make that stuff like easier. Some sort of not even a scripting language, just some sort of like JSON definition for little things that could be attached to your character, so you could come up with like a new character style. And then you know, I probably have to. We'll have to see like how it is to share that kind of stuff. My hope is to have it so anybody can make a character or a map or anything like that and share it with all your friends. You know, if you want to have a little like custom games between your friends, but then there will probably be some sort of, you know, if you actually wanted to make it publicly available, like there might be some sort of screening process or, you know, something like that, just to avoid you know, legal trouble and anything like that. You know, don't want people like putting out a complete Zelda game or something like that. What changes do you plan in future updates such as those API 9? So my hope is that there will not be an API 9 because the big thing with API 8, which was a lot of code reshuffling, is that I moved everything into feature sets. So if you're curious what a feature set is, that's where, you know, if you come into here, dive into like the Python section, you'll see all this BA whatever. Like it used to just be like 1 or 2 things, but now it's all this stuff. So each of these is a feature set. And stuff like the gameplay is all in like BA Scene V1, which is a feature set. And so my hope is that the next kind of major revision of the gameplay, which might, you know, involve adding client prediction or a completely different set of nodes or something, you know, something to kind of improve things over where they've been for 10 years, that will be BA Scene V2. And the hope there is that if you want to like keep writing your mods for Scene V1, Scene V1 will stick around for a while. We're not going to like pull that out of the game immediately or anything. It'll probably be, as long as it can be reasonably supported. And so that's my hope, is that instead of like flipping a switch from API 8 to 9, where then everyone tears their hair out and has to like rewrite all their work, my hope is that it'll just be like, oh, okay, we've now added BA Scene V2. And so now if you want to write a game against that, you can. Or you can just stick with your code, which hopefully still works from Scene V1. I'm sure there will still be churn. And, eventually if you're writing on Scene V1, you'll have to rewrite for Scene V2 or whatever. My goal is just to free us up to kind of make smart changes, even if they do break things, because the people using the old stuff will still be able to use the old stuff. So if that makes sense, at least for a while, eventually Scene V1 will go away. But my hope is that it'll be less painful than the situation now, where like when the API version changes, like every single plugin out there breaks, which I apologize. It's probably the same reason why Bill Gates let pirates steal Windows. Oh no, it's PR Siegel. It's only a matter of time before he showed up. Right on the heels of Roadmap Siegel. Well, part of this is stopping people from making like BS Pro bypasses would be technically almost impossible. It's like stopping people from changing their own copy of the game, especially like on PC or Linux or something where it's really easy to dig in and you could muck with the binary code if you wanted. Trying to prevent people from doing that, it's like that just seems like a waste of my time. I'd rather spend it on other things. And plus, it's like we've all pirated games or whatever growing up, so it's, I guess, yeah, maybe it is like similar to the Windows, Bill Gates Windows idea or something. It's just like let people enjoy it, and then if they need it for an official job or something, then they'll pay for it, or whatever Windows theory was. But I don't know. It's kind of similar with just like open sourcing stuff too. It's like there's that little part of me that's worries with open sourcing stuff. Oh, some company is going to come and take my code and slap some stuff on it and like completely steal all my work. But it's like hopefully that won't happen, and hopefully there has been a lot of benefit to it. People writing cool stuff on top of it, or fixing bugs, or hopefully learning from it. So yeah, just one of those things. I remember hearing about something with Microsoft talking about like riding the bull. There was some like Microsoft documentary talking about like they were working with IBM, and I just remember hearing like riding the bull, just like putting something out there which is like potentially dangerous or could backfire, but you just you ride that bull and you're just like hope it works out, don't let go kind of thing. So yeah. Oh, interesting. That's I was talking to my brother over the weekend. I was visiting family. We were talking about when we were growing up, we had VHS tapes of all our favorite movies and whatnot. We always noticed they weren't official VHS tapes. So yeah, my dad would copy VHS tapes from other people like when they first came out, and there was no like copy protection on them. So we had a lot of bootlegged copies of beloved family movies. Are most pro things server sided? A decent amount aren't. The stuff like like customizing playlists and things like that. That is, I mean, there's a few protections that are server side, and it checks certain things like if you've unlocked characters, you won't be able to play with those in public servers because the server will check your your pro status, stuff like that. So there is some stuff, but there's still a good amount in terms of just like unlocking things locally. If you just like unlock all the characters and have them available for local play, and if the server tells you that you don't have them, you just like ignore the server, stuff like that. So you can do almost anything, locally. It's just a matter of like what you can do online. Like I said, if you join a server, that server can check with the master server and then be like, hey, does this person actually have this character unlocked? The master server is like, nope. That'll probably be a bigger thing with the squad system. Like it'll probably be easier to secure it. I still don't. I'd like to remove the there's the little bit of copy protection in there now. There's like the root check on Android. I'd love to remove that. I hope to soonish. I just need to, there's that little part of me that worries it's gonna cause people to hack tournaments more. But once more things like tournaments are moving to online servers, then there's really no reason to check root kits and things like that. Check for root kits. So, which I'm excited about. I feel like if you want to root your phone and mess around, like you should be able to do that. Like why am I punishing you for that? That sucks. At the same point though, like there's been times when people have just submitted like mad, crazy, obviously fake scores to tournaments and things. And so it's just like, I need to try to stop that while it's still possible. Any tips for creating a good texture for a character in Bomb Squad? I mean, the way I've done it, it's kind of evolved. I tried to make everything in the game from reality, so like build it in reality first, take some photos. And then even for characters, I try to like use those as a basis. Like you get as much of the photograph out as possible, try to make it look as much kind of like real just by leeching off the photograph instead of like trying to paint it that way. But then there's a balance too, where it's like sometimes you got to go in and kind of hand tweak it and paint little parts and things. So it's just practice and balance. I'm hoping to, either find or make some sort of tool to make it easier or possible to kind of do photogrammetry, where you just build a little dude and like scan it with your phone and that gives you a decent looking model. It's been interesting for me because I decided to go with the style with the game where everything is built in real life, out of clay or blocks or whatever. And there's a lot of upsides to that. Like it gives you something that looks mostly real kind of for free. So in a way it saves time. But the hard part is, like getting something, converting that into 3D and texture mapping it with those photos and stuff like that takes a while. I'm sure any of you who have tried that have learned. And also getting it to like line up, making something in 3D that is the same shape as your photograph, and, so it doesn't, because there's sometimes where I've seen maps where it's based on a photograph, but maybe like the floor is sloped on the actual map, but on the photograph it doesn't look sloped, so it kind of makes it hard to judge like angles or something like that. So it's a tricky problem. I don't have any like amazing tips. If anyone, if you find like a photogrammetry app or there's some pipeline, maybe Blender has some stuff built in for that. Who knows? If anyone finds like a cool pipeline to take real stuff and turn it into 3D in an easy way, like I'm all ears. I'd love to hear about that. That's awesome. Call each other BS names. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, learn basic Blender mesh crafting or mesh editing, which is still on my to-do list. I'm currently paying for a Maya license, which is it's expensive. Uh, but like I did all the at Pixar we used Maya for most things we did, like visual effects and stuff. They've since transitioned to like Houdini for that, by the way, but I think the modelers, I'm sure some departments still use Maya. So I'm still like very much used to Maya, so I'm paying for a Maya license. I know Maya pretty well, but I really don't need it. Like I should learn Blender. Also, that would be much more handy to like show the community how to do stuff because like no one has Maya. Everyone has Blender. So so I'm super excited to see what people can do with asset packages, making characters and maps and things like that. Not to get ahead of myself, I mentioned before, it would be cool to get to a place where I could even like pay folks to like add their stuff to the game or something like that. Like just something where it's a little bit of like pulling in community, like specific things from the community or something. Like that'd be super cool. I'd have to figure out like how the financials would work there and stuff like that, but it would be great. Um, I don't want to do like a total free for all, like at least I don't think. Something like Roblox, where it's just like everybody putting stuff out anywhere or whatever. But I'd rather have it more like curated sort of thing. But it'd be cool to be able to kind of pull in stuff from the community and give something back for people that make stuff. So that's another thing on the to-do list. That's a yeah, one of my, I mean, another goal like with 1.8 is to, I do plan to kind of revamp the currency of the game and stuff just to try to get the economy working well enough to like pay for all the servers I'm using. It's currently not there. It's like yeah, currently the servers are costing more than the game makes. So I definitely need to revamp the economy and get more stuff that people can buy and download and purchase and whatever. So that'll be another thing I'll be working a little bit on in 1.8. Like I said, I have a kind of a plan for how the currency will be revamped. Like tickets will become something you mainly only get in the game, like from playing and stuff. So that means they should be easier to get, but you won't be able to purchase them. So it'll be like a purely in-game currency. And then there'll be a second one called, I think, tokens, which will be like the paid for currency. So that'll be certain little things will cost tokens, and that will help me pay for my servers. Old Bomb Squad snapshots. Yeah, I know I keep saying this. I should do it one day. Is to like clean up 1 point, or I guess that would have been like 0.6, like old original Bomb Squad. I should clear that up, take out the copyrighted stuff. There would be a few characters left. But yeah, I should put that out there just for people to mess with. It would. I'd be a little bit sad because like my memories of playing it with my friends back in 2004, whenever, they heavily revolve around those stupid celebrities and stuff that were in it. So it would be kind of sad to see it without those, but it would still be better than nothing, and it wouldn't be too hard to take that stuff out. Many people using auto hotkey script. What do you mean by making the game worse? Do they get like advantages from that? Or like unfair advantages in gameplay? Can you describe that a little bit? Punch, grab, spam. Huh. My thought with that, like with, that stinks. I wonder with that stuff if it would be possible to filter it out on the server side. With just like rate limits on how fast you can grab or punch or something, or if that would actually inhibit good players who actually are pressing buttons real fast. Because on some point, that is kind of a side effect of like theoretically allowing the client to do anything. It also means that the client could be using stuff like that, like scripts that auto generate inputs. So I'm wondering if there's a way to like block that stuff server side as opposed to trying to police client side. You know what I mean? I mean, I could think about, I don't. It is interesting. I was reading that like Microsoft or Sony, they were banning people who were using certain controllers because they had, some sort of cheat functionality built in, or something like that. So it's like obviously that's that's a very hard thing to do for a game that runs on Android and PC. It's like I can't really police what people use with it, even if we can prevent people from running scripts that do random button inputs, like people could still buy hardware that would do it or something like that. So I'm just wondering like what a good way to fight against that would be. I would love to do this, like stuff like daily challenges, et cetera, et cetera. The big limitation there is like just not having time to make them. So it's one of those things where I'm trying to keep this small and just me, and just so I have like freedom to, there's no bureaucracy. I can kind of take the game in the direction I want and try to like match my vision. And I'm still making progress, just slowly. But the downside is, yeah, I don't have people that can do stuff like run daily challenges or come up with new things or build new skins quickly and stuff like that. That's why I was wondering if, at least on some of those fronts, like leaning on the community a bit, if I could like pay people who make awesome skins to be like, hey, can I put your skin in the shop? Stuff like that. Maybe something like that could work for challenges and things like that too. My overall plan for the squad system is I want to build it on top of what I'm just going to call like leagues. I've talked about this a little bit before, but the idea of a league is something that you'd be able to make your own league, and a league would just be, like classic, the entire classic system, like all the game that's in there now would be like a league. But if you wanted to make some league that would be like, say, a competitive ladder that only plays a certain game type, you could make that league. So my hope is that maybe allowing people to write leagues, like maybe I could give people the functionality to do like daily challenges in their leagues and stuff like that. Like I think that could be cool. Then, people that are super dedicated at making fun stuff like that people could do daily could kind of branch out and experiment, and it wouldn't be all like limiting. I wouldn't be the bottleneck, Upload Bomb Squad remote, but Bomb Squad itself to App Store. So the plan, Bomb Squad itself will be Bomb Squad 2.0. That the fact that it's been out on Android for 10 years, I consider that like a very long soft launch. I apologize for making iOS people wait this long. At this point, though, like at the place I'm in right now, I definitely need to get to 2.0 before I release any other major versions, because, as I said, servers are costing me more money than the game is making. So I need to get the game to a good place with squads and stuff where that's not the case. So once the game is back to being in the green, which I fully expect it to be before too long, then other platforms can come along. So, and that's kind of what the plan is like 1.9 is adding squad system, 2.0 is launching on other platforms. So it's basically the squad system, and that revamp should put the game in a good place, and then 2.0 it'll finally get out on the official plan for 2.0 is iOS or all of Apple's platforms. Maybe not Vision OS. I'd love to do Vision OS, but that might be a different thing. But anyway, yeah, 2.0 is all of Apple's platforms and Steam. That's kind of the big goal right now. Beyond 2.0, we'll see. So yeah, there's a YouTube video of like me testing the game on my iPad 2 back in like the Stone Age. I should have taken that video down. It's part of me. It's like a sick, guilty pleasure to like look at comments on there like, Eric, it's been 10 years. Eric, it's been 11 years. What the hell, Eric? So, yeah, I do feel bad, but it's coming. Though at the moment, I gotta like resolve I mentioned last week, I'm stuck in limbo with like the Mac version. Apple like rejected my update, and for a weird reason that I can't tell what they're talking about. So I'm trying to get a response from them to see like, okay, what can I change to get this accepted? But at the moment, I am stuck in Apple world. So I'm assuming I'll be able to get through that. I know some folks at Apple. I can reach out and see if I can get some more information. But yeah, that's part of it too. Is like I do. You have to comply by all the App Store rules and stuff like that. So apparently, Bomb Squad is currently not complying on some rule, or there's a miscommunication. I'm not quite sure. Add more power-ups. I do want for there to be more power-ups. Like again, I feel like in a lot of cases I'm approaching things from a technical standpoint. Like I'm trying to put pieces in place so that other people can come up with power-ups. And then my hope is if someone comes up with a really fun one, I can just like, add them to the credits, maybe pay them for that or something and add that to the game or, something like that. So that's my hope, is to kind of like foster an ecosystem where people can easily add power-ups. Right now it's kind of it's possible, but you kind of have to hack things a bit. That you got to kind of tear apart the one power-up script and kind of jerry rig it with a new power-up. But I would love to get to a place where it's easy to add power-ups. There's like a well-defined, like this is how you define a power-up. Similar to like how you define a plugin right now, or how you define a game type. You know, I'd love for power-ups to be something similar, where this is a plugin. This is what happens when it touches somebody. This is this is the icon on the box. You know, just like a very clear set of what is a plugin or what is a power-up. Sorry. Oh yeah, speed boots. There's a reason I took speed boots out for a reason, just because adding when I added the run function, it kind of replaced speed boots. But you know, there's a lot of people falling off edges and stuff, even as is, because of lag or other factors. And so I feel like speed boots would probably not be good in general. Maybe on certain maps or certain game types or something like that, that could be fun. Mr. Sock, howdy. Smoke particles. Let's see. So when you say 3D images, I mean the particles, this was just some hand-drawn particle-y thing. The smoke is something. Oh yeah, I guess the smoke does. It's been a while since I did that smoke. I did better smoke for when I was working with my friends on Zombie Gunship. I did kind of a evolved version of this, which I was pretty happy with. But this particular smoke, I don't remember exactly how it's set up. It's like the smoke tendrils in the game, those are dynamically generated. So if you look through the CC files, there's a C++ file for smoke stuff. Let me see if I can find it just to keep me fresh. So that'd be source, Ballistica. That would be background dynamics. Is that under base? That might be under base. Oh yeah, background dynamics, which is all under base, which I don't know if that's good. Maybe that should move somewhere else at some point. BG dynamics. Why am I not seeing that? Fuse, server, shadow, volume light. Mer. I thought that was BG dynamics. Maybe it's not BG dynamics. Height cache. Somewhere there's like a tendril object or smoke or something. Blah. Draw tendrils. All right. Tendril vertices. Okay, so here's tendril-y stuff. I feel like I haven't touched the BG Dynamics code in many years, so I'm having to like figure it out as a fresh person. Okay, tendril vertices. Where does this get messed with? BG Dynamics server. So this is just drawing, I believe. Update tendrils. Okay. Yeah, I guess the tendril stuff is just like a big list of vertices, and then here's some code to like simulate it. But somewhere in here, basically, it sticks in like UV values. So there's probably some hard-coded code that maybe like cycles through these. So this was probably generated. I probably built this by hand in Photoshop, just basically placing some 4 things side by side and lining them up. And then there's code in here that probably just sets UV values to like, you know, display this one, and then display this one, and then display this one, and then display this one. There's nothing, I don't, you know, there's certainly nothing like fancy going on. It's just kind of stuff that I did by hand. Oh no, I scared Sock away. Why Bomb Squad doesn't support DualShock 4 fully? Which platform are we talking? Is this Android? There's so many platforms. It supports it on some platforms. I'm certainly not doing anything to not support it, both Android and Windows. So on one thing on Windows to look into, there's a box to flip between X input and there's the two input systems that Windows uses. Like try either of those, see if it has any luck. Aside from that, I'm just using SDL. So this would be a question for SDL. So if you do, so this little library here, SDL, this handles like joystick input and things like that, at least on Windows. So on the Windows version, it would, you'd have to check with SDL and see like if that controller is not supported by SDL, then it won't be supported in the game. It could be that maybe the version of SDL in the game needs to be updated. We could check that. Like every so often, I have to like repackage the newest version. I should probably automate that. I've been doing that more. Like if I have stuff that's packaged in the game, I'll like write a little pcommand script or something that just like grabs the latest version so I can keep everything up to date. But if you look at source, I don't know if this would be in the public repo. It would probably download this stuff on demand, but source external Windows lib Win32 SDL2. I guess there's no version info here, but they're like in the header files include SDL2. There might be a version in here somewhere. SDL version, perhaps. 3.2.8.3. So, I mean, you could check if there's a version newer than this online that, adds support for DualShock 4 or something. I'm surprised that wouldn't be supported, though. I mean, SDL is pretty good at supporting most anything. But yeah, I'm not quite sure the answer to that. And then with Android, that comes down to like, I support any input device Android supports. So if it's not showing up, or if you're not able to configure it on Android, that might be Android. Are you able to use it in other games? Like there are... Maybe I could try that. I do have a DualShock 4 handy. I could look into that. So if you go to like, configure controllers or configure joysticks, whatever it's called in Android, like you're not able to register button presses from it or anything? Because that would be surprising to me. It should, because basically I'm just listening for events from Android. So unless it's sending some real weird event that I'm not like expecting, like something with a really high button index or something like that. But basically like Android should be forwarding any input events along to the game. So I'd be... Another thing you could do is, I don't know, if you have, if by chance you're able to like look at the Android log, you have to get your feet wet a little bit with developer stuff there. But if you look at the Android log, like the game will spit out a bunch of stuff on like what input devices it sees and which ones it considers controllers and which ones it considers keyboards and which ones it ignores. So you might be able to see some stuff there. Just look for any like output from Bomb Squad, like net.frumling.bombsquad or whatever. What? Okay, but yeah, I don't have a good answer for you here in terms of why it wouldn't work in Bomb Squad, and I'd love to get it working. So any clues you could get me would be helpful. I don't know if you can, like for Windows, I don't know if you could download another like SDL game or some SDL test app or something just to see if it's like detecting those button presses. We could try to figure that out. But I'm not, I mean, I shouldn't, in most cases, I don't support specific controllers. I'm just supporting systems that support those controllers. So, which would be SDL on Windows and just Android itself on Android. Or like on Android, if you can get like some app to show you like event values or something. Like show me what value it gets or what event it gets when you press a button on that controller. I've seen that in some games to create your own skins. They use the URL of the image. Will this be possible in the future? I do want it to be possible to create your own characters. It probably won't be using URLs. It'll be using the little asset package system that I just showed you, and it'll probably just be something like this, where if you want to make a character, you'll probably create a workspace, maybe drag your image into it that you want. I mean, I could make something here to like add something to a workspace based on a URL. That could be an option. But yeah, there'll probably be like a template workspace, like, hey, look, here's a little character, and then you can like replace the skins or replace the different parts with your own. And then when you're ready to use that, you probably spit it out as an asset package. So be like, let's create like my character, best character ever, and use my character workspace, and then publish, and then now you've got like, there'll probably be some place you can plug this value in, or we'll have to see how the details go with like characters, but basically saying like, hey, use this character. How would you attract new players to Bomb Squad? So I'm my assumption is that 1.8 to a degree, but mostly 2.0 will probably have a substantial effect on the number of characters or the number of players coming in. Just being on Steam and iOS, I'm hoping that'll like create some buzz. I plan to kind of like not rebrand the game, but have 2.0 feel more like a launch of a new game, as opposed to, hey, this is just an update for Bomb Squad. So it's almost like Bomb Squad 2.0 is almost like the name of the game or something. I do want it to feel kind of fresh. So I'm hoping, and at that point I should be ready to get a lot of new players. Like I said, right now the servers are not, they're currently not making money. I'm basically spending more on servers than the game's making. So once that situation is flipped, then I will be definitely more wanting to get more players. Right now it's like it's in a comfortable place for testing things and improving things and whatever, and it's there is still a good flow of players coming in, thousands every day, so I'm not complaining. But yeah, at some point it would be fun to get some feature placement and kick things into high gear or whatnot. And so my plan for that is 1.9 and 2.0. That's kind of 1.8 also, if asset packages becomes like a fun little thing, like maybe that could start to pull people in, people kind of making their own stuff through that. So the combination of that and squads coming in 1.9, I think that should be, even without 2.0, I think that should be some fun new stuff to kind of get more people kind of investing and creating stuff on top of the game. I don't know. My main philosophy is just like make the thing fun, make stuff I want to play, add cool, fun things to it, and eventually more people will show up. I mean, again, I'm very fortunate that the game is getting a good stream of downloads every day. I know maybe the community in some places, it's probably not as big as it was or whatever, but the numbers are still good. So yeah, hope that answers the question. Is that, these upcoming version updates will hopefully be, jump starts. Oh, okay. Well, hello, Sock, from wherever you are. What games can I try with DualShock? I am not sure. I would just say like if there's an app that, I'd say any app that like shows if a controller is supported by Android or shows like technical information about it, like any of that could be helpful. Like, oh, when I press this button, it shows up as like key press 359. Just any technical info could be useful to have. Mr. Smoothie, howdy. Has been a while. How are you doing? Okay, well, it sounds like Sock had a reason to disappear since he's not at home, so I won't feel hurt. Went back to Bomb Squad again. The bot is just moving front and back. Like, are you in the game? Are you not in the game anymore? Oh, that's weird. Can you record a video? I mean, it must be something weird with bot logic. I don't know. I haven't touched any of the bot logic in a long time, so maybe you've uncovered a weird corner case. We could add like debug prints to the bot logic to see like why he's doing what he's doing. But I haven't run into that myself. There's some waiting up to. I know. People are waiting forever for iOS release. I'm coding as fast as I can. But it's basically down to, like I said, I can't release it before I get squads and asset packs because I need those so that servers are, at least, if not profitable, at least breaking even. And then, bring on the bajillions of players. Or not, who knows, maybe it won't make a big splash. But right now, if I bring on bajillions of players, it'll just cost me more money. So I need to fix that situation first. Promised it will be available for before 1.7. Promised what will be available? I don't think. I mean, in recent history, the plan for 2.0 has always been iOS. I mean, maybe that was different before, but it kind of solidified at some point to being 2.0. Oh. Yeah. Add Bomb Squad to Roblox. Ew. No, I mean, nothing wrong with Roblox, but no, like, at this point, starting the game over in a new engine is not really something I'm interested in. I mean, it could be interesting to get it like usable as a plugin or something in Unreal or any of the things out there. I think Roblox probably is more limited in how you work with it. I mean, maybe you could build something Bomb Squad-ish with Roblox, but I'm not interested in trying. For me, it's far too useful to have like low-level source code access. Like I would never want to work with something where I couldn't see most of it, like the physics engine, like where I couldn't like poke under the hood and see what's actually happening there when things go wrong. Something when I wrote Bomb Squad originally, or I was tinkering with physics engines, I was using Maya, like the physics stuff in Maya. I was trying to create like a weird little character animator using physics, and it was super fun. I was having a good time. But then there were weird little issues where it's like the simulation would come out a little bit different every time, or I couldn't get things exactly how I wanted them to be. And then I started playing around with Open Dynamics Engine, which is like an open source physics stuff, and like that completely changed my life. Being able to like see exactly like what math is getting plugged in where and what is, what's coming out the other end and debug that kind of stuff. Like I would never go back to not being able to look at the source code for stuff like that to debug problems. So yeah. What is this? Oh, that's yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I maybe have seen this before. There is if you look at the bot logic, they have like two states they can be in. One is like charging, and one is retreating. And I think the guys that throw bombs, like they want to be a certain distance from you so they can throw bombs at you, but then at some point they walk towards you so they can potentially punch you. But yeah, I think you've probably stumbled upon like a perfect situation where like those two things are just going back and forth. So yeah, that is technically a flaw in the AI, it looks like. Like I imagine if you run away from him or run towards him, he'll probably go back to doing his normal bot thing. Oh yeah, what probably is happening is he's trying to back up so that he can throw a bomb, but then he probably gets close to the edge. I think there's like special logic where like if you're at the edge, stop backing up. Otherwise, they all just run off the edge immediately. So yeah, he's probably just ping-ponging back between those two bits of logic. So yeah, that shows you how AI can be tricky to program, because you can wind up in situations like that where like they're two things they want to do kind of conflict. It's like, I'm too close to you, I can't throw a bomb, I better back up. Oh, I'm too close to the edge, I'm gonna die, I better go forward. So back and forth, back and forth. So yeah, don't move. That's the best solution there, is just keep the game running and never move. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if that were something that were happening a lot, we'd probably want to add some extra bot logic there. Just, I don't know. I'm trying to think like what would be good logic to break that cycle. Something like if you've backed, maybe it would be something like if you've backed up more than 3 times in the last 10 seconds, then don't back up. Just like charge an attack, something like that. Just something to detect that like, oh, we're stuck in a loop and we need to like change it up. So yeah, the bot logic, it's very limited and flawed. There's certain things, if you haven't noticed, the bots cannot deal with like 3D maps. Like bots are basically only on like flat maps, so they're kind of built 2D stuff like that. So it would be fun to revisit bot logic and try to make fancier bot logic, maybe for Scene V2 or something. Emotes and dancing in Bomb Squad. This I would love. This I hope to have for squads mode. At least emotes, dancing would be cool too. Collab with other games, that could be fun. I've been pinged by a few indie game developers before. I've maybe like given them permission to use Bomb Squad stuff or something, but that could be fun. Getting into asset downloads and things where it's like it's easier to add new characters or new variations of characters than that could open the door for stuff like that, just like having fun little guest star characters from other games or things like that. So I know I sound like a broken record mentioning the asset packages and stuff, but like that's kind of limited my ability to add new characters to the game, like special editions and things like that, because not only do I have to add to the game, but then I have to like get everyone upgraded to use that version of the game. Otherwise, if you play online with someone that's using like a skin that you don't have, your game will crash, stuff like that. So, really wanting to, with asset packages, I'm really hoping to clean that situation up and having it, be so we can add a new character, a new map, and then other versions of the game will just automatically download that. Or in the case of a character, maybe they'll display a default character instead, stuff like that, unless the character is like an official approved one, in which case maybe they'll just download it automatically and then you'll see a new character, stuff like that. Mer? Project file could not be loaded. Data at the root level is invalid. Have you like added stuff or like made changes or run update on your local project? Or are you running the latest Visual Studio for sure? Like the latest, there was some issue not too long ago where someone had like a minor, we're on like Visual Studio 23 or whatever the newest one is, but somebody was not able to like build stuff, or there was running into build issues until I updated my Visual Studio that I spit out like the static libraries with, and then it worked again. So maybe it's something like that. My baseline for this would be like GitHub. Like GitHub is loading and compiling this stuff using Visual Studio and it works there. So maybe whatever is different with your environment versus GitHub, maybe check into that, see if you can, again, Visual Studio version, that would be my first guess. Unless you're like changing something and then it won't load, or, unless like you're running, make update, which then will potentially like regenerate the Visual Studio file with like custom data. Like that could be a different problem then. That's cool. So what is this? Is this like, like a render in Blender, or like what app is that? You kind of slept. What did you miss? What did you miss? Just kind of in a random chat about everything day. I need to look into the connection issue that people are running into. I showed a little, like, kind of a preview about asset packages will work. I can breeze through that again. So asset packages will basically be, you come in here, have a workspace, throw a bunch of JPEGs or PNGs or OBJs in or whatever. You have a workspace.toml. This, you'll probably edit this through a GUI, but at the beginning you can do it by hand if you want, basically saying, this is an assets workspace. Here's some global values. Here's some values for these specific files, whatever, resolution, etc. Or you can just leave it blank and it'll probably use defaults. But then, yeah, you build a little workspace, and then you can publish that workspace by creating an asset package. So do new asset package, blah, 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 point it at a workspace, and then publish, boink. And now I have a shiny new asset package called a-0.assets1.test17. And the idea is that this is like a permanent little thing that will exist for some amount of time, or as long as it's being used or whatever on my server, and the game is able to download this dynamically, or the very first thing it'll be able to do is download it at build time and like replace the built-in assets with this stuff. But before 1.8 is released, it'll also be able to like download this stuff dynamically. Just like download whatever version of those assets it uses, and then you'll have them. So yeah, more details forthcoming on how that works. But yeah, this is like all I've been doing the last few weeks is, well, I guess I had my weird run-in with trying to get the Apple approval thing fixed, but that was before the last 2 weeks. But since then, I've been mostly working on asset packages. So yeah, I'm very fixed on this getting to this 1.8 goal. I'll take a little time and try to fix this login issue because that sounds kind of bad. Is anyone able to reproduce the login issue in any specific way, or is it just happening for some people? Because I heard like 1.7.19 people were having it more often than others or something. Or is it just random for people, or any info I can go off here? It's a lot easier to fix something if it's reproducible, and I'm not able to reproduce it currently, which very well could be because I'm very close to my server, which gives me ping advantages and stuff. So if there's something that's like timing out for people, it probably doesn't time out for me, unfortunately. Well, anyway, if you're running into login issues and you want to help debug them, ping me after this or something. So anyway, that's all you've missed. Just chatting about the usual stuff, plus talking a little visual effects stuff, and yeah, this and that. But yeah, E328, tell us a little about this. What are we seeing here? It's cool looking. Ooh, bot tester. Wait, hold on a second. Oh, I guess this. Bot tester. Who gives a damn? Oh. That's cool. It's always good to test your bots. Don't just release bots into the wild untested. It's good to test them. Oh, yeah, I'm sure there's probably some lovely bot combinations that are just completely broken. Such is programming. It's like with it's always fun to show, going back to visual effects in movies for a second, it's always fun to show, like scenes from movies from like a different angle. You can see just how cheated and faked it is. It looks right from the camera angle, but it's completely messed up from side angles. So same with games. It's like everything works that is supposed to work, like the very specific set of things that are coded. But if you go outside of that, it's often quite easy to find something broken. Tried connecting DualShock, only works. Are you able to configure it? Because if it's detecting if it's detecting button presses, that should be enough to like configure it so it works, you know, under like settings controllers. Like if the button is registering in any way, like if a button press does something in the menu, then you should be able to configure it. Um, I'd love to have the game like automatically configure every controller correctly, and maybe there's ways to do better on that. Like I think Steam has like a, or even SDL, I think it has another layer where like it tries to configure your controller based on what type it is. But that's not always the case. In a lot of cases, you have to configure stuff. Best bomb squad. No, I'm not. I'm at my best, I was maybe okay in single player, but yeah, there's so many people that just kick my butt in multiplayer, online multiplayer. Like I've said before, it's like mostly when I've been playing multiplayer, it's been with like friends and people that are like not pros, you know, like people that have only played the game a few times and they're pretty casual. So I can do pretty good against them. But yeah, people who are playing competitively, like online with bomb jumps and crazy spin moves and whatever, like they just destroy me. But that's okay. I feel like it kind of makes me proud. Like, you know, oh, I've made something where, you know, people have taken it to the next level. Like, it's like my creation has surpassed me. It's like having a kid and the kid like beats you at a game for the first time. It's like you're probably proud about that. Keyboard only play style. Is it overpowered? I wouldn't. Do people feel it's overpowered? I feel like I would feel like a controller is always for this type game. It seems like a controller is always the best. I mean, with a keyboard, like I tried to put like soft inputs in there, you know, so you can still kind of have analog accuracy, you know, even with very much non-analog keyboard input. Um, but I wouldn't consider that an advantage. So yeah, I'm curious if people feel differently. What is this? Oh yeah, yeah. What he said. Yeah, they appear in the store at certain times of year. But if you want them otherwise, you need mods. How long has it been since my last job interview? Well, actually, I was gonna say like my Pixar one way back in the day, like 2004. But I did work with my friends for a few years. Well, some friends of mine, yeah, they started a little indie game studio, and so I worked with them for a few years. So I technically interviewed there. It wasn't like a very in-depth interview, but yeah, I talked to their lead programmer. Um, so that would have been after Pixar, so like 2014 ish. Either way, that's 10 years ago. Um, so yeah, now I'm just having fun doing my own thing. I can't imagine. I mean, as much I loved working at Pixar, it was awesome. It would be fun working in like a big game studio or something like that. But honestly, for me, it's I can't imagine having more fun than like making my own little thing here. You know, it's just having the freedom to like steer stuff in the direction I want to go and make the thing I want to make. Like it's even if it takes me forever to make stuff, I freaking love it. So it's unless you know the game were to like drop off the charts tomorrow and stop making money completely, and then maybe I'd have to like go interview somewhere to get like a job to pay the bills and stuff. But I feel very lucky that Bomb Squad is doing well enough that I can keep doing Bomb Squad or other Ballistica based games or apps or whatever. So trying to keep that open ended, but you know, basically just Bomb Squad right now. I need to buy something to create a server in public or no? No, you just need a computer connected to the internet. You can run the server binary on that. Right now, you have to set up port forwarding so that you know people can connect to on a certain port to your running game or your server. But you don't have to buy anything. There's you can do like private hosting, which that will basically host on one of my servers, and for that sometimes you do need it's free sometimes. I think it charges tickets sometimes. So for that technically, you know, you have to pay. because I have to pay for those servers, unfortunately. Amazon, Amazon keeps asking me for money. They won't let me run hundreds of servers for free. Dang it. But yeah, if you're running your own server, yeah, there's no cost or anything for that. Well, in my case, for when I was interviewing with my friends, the guy I was interviewing with wasn't. I mean, I knew him, but he wasn't a friend. He was like I think he was treating it more like a normal job interview. So it wasn't. I would put it like one step above like friends chatting. Like I think I probably would have had to screw up pretty badly for them to like reject me or but since I knew the guys already, but I think it was still kind of an interview. Oh, I saw this. Yeah, draft PR for Rich Presence. That is super cool. Yeah, I can take a closer look. I mean, I will try to fix the login issue. Aside from that, my focus right now is largely on 1.8. Like anything that is not 1.8 that sucks me in is going to delay 1.8. So I'm trying to not add anything else on my plate right now. But as soon as we can get 1.8 out, and then I can hopefully revisit some other stuff. Like, yeah, Discord Rich Presence would be super cool. I could set up a key or whatever and add that to the plus library, if it needs to be kind of somewhat hidden, stuff like that. Okay, interesting. It'd be interesting too. Just talking about different controllers and advantages or disadvantages. I know some games like they segment PC players away from console players because the mouse and keyboard it can be more accurate for first-person shooters and stuff. Like I don't plan on doing anything like that with Bomb Squad in terms of like touchscreen controllers. I feel like are at a disadvantage compared to mouse or keyboard even or not mouse but keyboard players or gamepad players, game controller players. But my thought is that like there's a large skill range anyway, and so a touchscreen player is just going to be probably at the lower end of that skill range. Maybe someone with a nice controller is going to be at the upper end, or But I feel like the game should be able to accommodate the skill range anyway. How to make a node punch? You mean like a spaz node? There is. I would just take a look at the spaz Python code. I think it sends an event, or that sends like a message to the spaz node saying like, "Hey, punch," or maybe it sets an attribute saying like, "You're punching right now." I'd have to check by using magic. Can you do bomb jump? No, I don't think so. Maybe I can. Certainly not in like any competitive capacity. I mean, I can blow myself up in the air with a bomb. But hello, Pro Executioner. How are you doing? I can't pronounce these other characters, but I think those are only decorational. Thanks. You should promote the game more. Well, this goes back, if you were listening, as I was mentioning earlier, like right now, I'm actually kind of not wanting to get a ton of players. I expect to get a good amount when the relaunch happens, like 2.0, Steam, and iOS. So I'm not too worried about players right now. And since I'm in this weird place where, I have all these servers scaling up and, they're not, like the new economy is not in place. It's like I don't really want a ton of players right now because it technically costs me money. I don't want to, I'm not in any danger of like bankrupting myself or anything like that. But when it's to the point where, the squad system is in there and tokens versus tickets and stuff, that's all figured out, then it would be good to get more players. So it'll be a little scary though. Like if launch 2.0 and say it gets featured or, gets a good amount of people, like it'll be interesting, like all this server stuff that I've been putting in place, like to see if that holds up. There's so many games that like go viral or something and their servers just have meltdowns. Like it happened to me that, the game got featured on Google Play back in 2013. So I got like millions of downloads over the span of a few days. And so my servers were getting hammered, but the servers were doing a lot less back then. So it'll be interesting to see like what they could do now. They held up pretty well back then. Like it was still, woof. It was a lot of server costs. I remember it was like thousands of dollars of server costs for a few days or something. Oh, hit message. Okay. Or that, yes. Yeah, it's again, a lot of this code I haven't like delved into the particular code in a long time, so some of you probably know the answers better than me. No, Eric. Uh-oh. If you want to make a game with Ballistica, I think you need... Oh no! Ooh, that sucks. Sorry. Yeah, there are a few corner cases with tournaments where... Well, I know people have discovered ways to like replay tournaments without paying a second time. I am very hesitant to touch that old tournament code just because it's so old. That's the V1 master server, which is very old code. Yeah, I would say, yeah, for Ballistica, I mean, it's largely Python based. So yeah, I would learn Python. Hopefully Ballistica and Bomb Squad's a good way to do some of that, learn some Python. I mean, I'm working to get it to the point where you can make a spin-off project, like where you change C++ code and stuff too, but that's not really ready for prime time yet. I mean, you could do it if you're ambitious, but mainly changing Python is the way to go right now. Why is this not done with a message? You'd have to go ask 15-year-old, or like 15 years ago me. There's probably some reason. I think there's certain things where like messages theoretically can get lost if, so like changing, yeah, I need to rethink this for Scene V2 just to like make it more concrete. It's a little wishy-washy, but basically messages can get lost. Like if you send a message to change some sort of state and then you reconnect to the server, like you won't get that message, and so you won't have that state, if that makes sense. So certain things is better to just use attributes for, basically saying like set punch to 1, set punch to 0. Because then if you reconnect to the server, you'll get the current value of that attribute, and so you'll always be like up to date. So messages were almost more for like very momentary things, if that makes sense. But it's still like I don't have a clear concept of when to use which, so I would like to really clarify that for Scene V2, like what is a message for and what is an attribute for. Or maybe everything is just attributes, who knows? This does make me, like, I would love to have, talking about this idea of like leagues, you know, little things that people could make that are like their own little world, you know, just like I'm going to make a league that's nothing but like bots fighting and you can bet on them or something, you know, I don't know. Just it'd be fun to just see what people could come up with. Like all this stuff where these little like bot testing grounds, or it makes me want to like watch some sort of like bot showdown. That would be super cool. Like who can code the best bot? Like have rules, like it has to be under certain lines of code or something. Yeah. Oh, so much fun stuff. I know. Well, what I want to do, I'm kind of curious how to approach Scene V2 because there's certain things that are like very fundamental where I want to like revamp, you know, like the node system, you know, so that it's cleaner and better. But then there's certain things that are also just kind of like evolutionary. So it makes me wonder, like, should Scene V2 just be like a cleaned up version of Scene V1 to start with? And then maybe Scene V3 could like revamp things more? Or I was thinking like there could be like two scene trains kind of. Like Scene V2 or Scene V1 would like evolve into Scene V2 or Scene V3 or whatever. But then there could be like another parallel one that is like rebuilt from the ground up. Maybe it would start off for like simple things. Like maybe, I mentioned this before, like it could start off as like text-based RPG, you know? Something that's like completely rebuilt to be clean and like future-proof with client prediction and whatever. You know, maybe we'd start from the ground up, and then eventually that would kind of inherit features from the classic Scene stuff until it's ready to like take over. So I'm not quite sure. All that stuff is a little farther out though. That's all like, you know, not as high priority as just getting, you know, asset packages, squad system, new platforms, and then hopefully getting Scene stuff to a better place. Ballistica similar to Lua? Not really. Ballistica is more just like an engine built on top of C++ and Python. Lua is a language, so we could add Lua to Ballistica if we wanted, but I'm pretty happy with Python. I'm sure Lua is probably more efficient and probably has some advantages for more efficient, definitely more like simple, I think. So it could have some advantages for like a game situation, but Python has its advantages too, and I love Python, and I know Python pretty well, so I think I'll probably... For a while, I was thinking like, oh, maybe we could add Lua as another option just for like client-side scripting or something, and maybe that could still happen. But I'd almost rather come up with some like stripped down limited Python interpreter for client side or something, just to have everything be Python. I don't want the game to be like incorporating too many different technologies. Has anyone here worked with Lua? I mean, you can make Python more efficient. Like there are tricks, there's ways to like compile Python down to like native code and stuff like that, or yeah, but my thought is like the combination, I worked with this a lot at Pixar, even there, efficiency didn't matter as much, but I mean, Python is great for flexibility, and then, C++ or low-level languages are great for speed. So I kind of feel like there's a nice combination of, if we need something to be fast, we write it in C++. If we need something to be easy to use or elegant, we write it in Python. And so most of the stuff we can write in Python, but then we can dip into C++ when we need it. So I feel like it's kind of like the best of both worlds in a way. Oh yeah, I knew that. I remember that was for the Ouya version back in 2014 or 2013 or so. I remember I started getting all these messages like, dude, PewDiePie played your game. And at the time I was like, who's PewDiePie? I learned very quickly who PewDiePie was. But yeah, I linked to it on fromling.net. I think there's a link to that video. Oh, how was Lua? I've never worked with Lua. I mean, I've read about it and whatever, and I'm sure I could pick it up, but maybe BS died along with Ouya. So sad. Yeah, PewDiePie. Well, he like retired from streaming, right? So is he like doing anything in the public eye now, or is he just kind of retired? I mean, I'm sure he has like more money than he knows what to do with, so he could probably just have a nice life. And yeah, I do. I mean, honestly, I could be more proactive in terms of like reaching out to my Google contacts and other people to like maybe try to get the game featured again, or some promotion for the game or something. But as I said, I'm happy with the downloads it gets for now. I think that'll carry us through to 2.0, and then that could be a bump. So that's the plan at the moment. I'm just having fun working on it. Ooh, this looked pretty. Nice. I love the different like themes and variations and like lighting effects. Oh, I do. Like I love the like random like lighting effects people do. They look like cozy or something, just like little sparkles and twinkles. And I am thinking about like how to kind of like slightly upgrade the lighting engine. Right now it's very simple. It's basically like projecting color from above, which works for like lights and shadows. But I'm trying to think like if there would be a way to kind of make it a little fancier, using, I don't know, depth maps or something, but still able to run like on the whole range of hardware. Bomb Squad still needs to support like older Android devices and things, so we can't like require ray tracing. It'd be cool to make a renderer that like was fully ray traced and super awesome looking, but that would be very limited audience, It'd still be fun to do, but not very high on the priority list. Oh, I moved to Japan with... Oh, Marcy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, both of them played my game. Oh. It's Leaves. Oh, cool. It was kind of cool to be, I can say, hey, PewDiePie played my game. My silly little game. But yeah, if you're PewDiePie, you're probably set for life. So like if you don't want to be streaming, why stream? Mer? What is this? Roblox. When I was at GDC a few months ago, Game Developer Conference up in San Francisco, there were some talks about Roblox. It was like one company was showing like how their entire company, like makes good money off of making Roblox games and stuff. So it was quite interesting. It's quite the ecosystem they've built. Do you remember how much time it took to create one map? Like the existing maps with my janky pipeline, I mean, I wish, like I was saying earlier, it'd be super cool if there's a better way to like scan stuff in, and I'd love to make it easier to make maps, using real world stuff, because that's kind of how the game's style. For me, it was always like making the map itself is like an hour, like taking my children's building blocks and making something fun. Like that's the fun part, like that takes no time at all. But then converting that into 3D and getting it into the game, like that's, for me, it was usually maybe 2 days of work, a day or two of work, something in there, just to like take the photos, scan them in, build the models, map the models, and iterate on that to like fix the ugly parts, and and then like play testing and making modifications. It was usually like 2 days, I'd say. So yeah, a bit of work. I'd love it to, like, my goal or my hope would be where you could just like build the thing out of building blocks, wave your phone over it and scan it in, and then just like place some spawn points and then just like test it. Like that'd be super cool. I'd love to get to that point. Even if it was like a rough way to do that, and then maybe you could go back and do like a better scan after that. So I'm trying to think of like a pipeline for that sort of, because I'd love to be able to kind of be creative with the blocks and the clay, and just like building something in real life and being able to just have fun moving them around and seeing how it plays. But that's not really how it works right now. It's mostly like you got to do something, scan it in, and then it's a lot of work to scan it in, and if you need to change something, you probably can just like hack it in Photoshop. So that part's a bummer. I would love to be able to like hack it in real life. Are you good at Lua? Are you talking to me? I've never done Lua. If you're talking to someone else, though. Roblox hackers are taking over. Oh, that could be fun. Yeah, I'm always like morbidly curious in stress tests just to see. I mean, though, if the leaves are based on, are those like props, or are those like background dynamics hacks? Probably props, right? Well, there's some absolute limit on nodes, I think, right? Oh, it would be interesting, yeah, to see what the limit is if it crashes. It's always kind of a cool stress test to just make sure that some people have done crazy stress tests with like bajillion spazzes. It always makes me a little happy to see that the game, even if it slows to a crawl, that at least like, oh, cool, it worked. New maps in 2.0, I don't know. The plan is to have new maps after 1.8, or as part of 1.8. I mean, I might launch 1.8 just with asset packages, but no new maps, but then like roll out new maps after that. That's probably the way to go, because that's 1.8 will be able to download that stuff, dynamically. So that would be 1.8 will just like give the game the ability to do downloads, and then new maps will follow. So 1.8.1 or 1.8.01, whatever, might have a new map in it. We'll see. Yeah, that's, like I said, I would love to. I do want, like, I don't want the game to become a free for all like Roblox, where everybody's. I mean, I want people to make stuff, but I kind of want to have it be like a curated set of stuff by default. Not to say like if someone makes an awesome map, I'd love to pull that into the game or have that be part of the official rotation. But I do kind of want to be very specific in like what maintaining the style and consistency and whatever. So it's like I kind of, we'll have to see how that like balance works. But I do want people to be able to make maps and play them with their friends, or play with, maybe there's a small or some part of the community where you could go and play like kind of random maps that people are making that are maybe not super high quality, but just for fun. I just want to kind of keep that like as a separate thing a little bit, or also be careful with it, so people don't make, like I said, Zelda maps and get me in trouble with Nintendo. It sounds like one does not want to be in trouble with Nintendo. This does not sound like a fun place to be. Also, this is a question of like moderation, like how this, like if people started doing a lot of this stuff, I don't know. That's almost something I would need to hire someone for, just to like manage this. So I don't know. Maybe I'd be open to doing that, unless, I mean, we could have like community moderation, but it's like I kind of don't want to ask people to do something that's like a boring job, or something like that. But we'll see. Or certain things like that. Like if people submit like a model that has like a bunch of different textures and you can't really see what it is until you play it in game, there's weird little workarounds people could do. So definitely needs to, I need the ability to, revoke an asset package if it goes public and it turns out there's something hidden in it, obviously. Showing game icons of the player in game instead of. What do you mean by that? Like, because we have, like the respawn icons and things like that show their icon. Is there somewhere else you'd want to see it, like in the game? Or like between rounds it shows their icon? Not sure. Oh, see their icon on their flags? Oh, their icon. Oh, custom. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Like the icons you can purchase, right? Yeah, that was kind of my plan initially. I didn't get to it, so I need to pick that back up. Yeah, have something where it shows up more. I thought you meant like the icon of like Spaz or Zoe or the character icons. But yeah, like I'd love to, get icons showing up in some place and then expand on like what you can do there. Maybe have them be used to like decorate your character icon or something, or flags like you said, like different things. That would definitely be cool. Yes, I was I was aware that there were various kind of hacks and stuff to be able to get tickets and stuff by creating a ton of accounts, and that's that should hopefully be less of a thing with V2. I've kind of like learned some lessons. I mean, I want to encourage people to, invite friends and get rewards for that and whatever. But yeah, people kind of weaponized that and turned it into a way to just get a ton of stuff. Maybe it still works. I mean, the V1 accounts are still functional essentially. We're slowly phasing them out. Um, Probably maybe in 1.8, like at some point we'll probably, well, I don't know. I'll maybe leave them in there until something major breaks. Like if they're still functional in some slight way, like you can still play classic games with them, like might as well not take them out yet. Um, but at some point, like squads mode, you will be required to have a V2 login or to purchase like tokens, like the new currency that'll be kind of replacing tickets as the purchasable currency. That will require a V2 login, et cetera, et cetera. So V1 will still work. There'll just be like more and more limitations over time. At some point when it makes sense, I'll probably just turn them off completely. Oh yeah, I mentioned that before. So the monetization like revamp, basically tickets are going to become more like earnable in game. Like I'd like it to be easier to get stuff when you're like playing either single player or even online stuff. And so tickets will be transitioning to more of like an in-app currency, a purely in-game currency, and then tokens will be replacing it as the thing that you can purchase with real money. So it's just kind of revamping stuff. Tickets aren't going away; they're just becoming more. They should be becoming more common. Becoming more common. And if you bought tickets, you're not going to lose them or anything like that. It'll start to get easier to earn tickets. And then tokens will be more reserved and have more limited uses. And then there is going to be, I've talked about this before, like that my monetization plan for the future is that there will be like a gold upgrade for the game, or if you're playing the game on a subscription service or certain things, there'll be certain times where basically you have unlimited tokens. Like tokens aren't even a thing. So if you're playing on like a subscription version of the game, you'll never have to buy tokens or whatever. You'll just have like all you want, essentially. So it's almost like it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet versus like an a la carte like ordering system, you know? So kind of two ways to play the same thing, if that makes sense. But there are more details coming out about that. But yeah, tokens will be coming online very soon. Yeah, test Ballistica.net is generally always going to be the same as Ballistica.net. That's basically just, that's a version of Ballistica.net up on the Google servers that is just a test version. So occasionally when I need to test something like on Google servers, then I put it there. But that's very rare. Usually dev Ballistica.net is where I'm usually doing development. And that is like a completely kind of different thing. It's just running on like an AWS server, like one little server. It's not running on like the full like Google App Engine apparatus. So when I'm working on stuff, I'm usually working on dev.ballistica.net. So you might see changes there. I would be a little, I wouldn't, don't use dev.ballistica.net as like your primary, like don't go there and do, modding and stuff, because a lot of times things will be extremely broken. So, if you like make a new workspace or something, you might wind up making a very broken workspace. It's, a lot of times I'm just, it's what I'm using to iterate on stuff. So, like don't use it as something to try to like get early access to new features, because you'll probably just get early access to brokenness and sadness. Unless, if I tell you in some specific case like, oh, check out dev.ballistica.net today. But yeah, in general, it's a little bit risky to go there. So I'm not going to tell you can't, but, just be aware. Oh, test language these days. So yeah, the test language functionality has been broken for quite a while. I mean, basically, at some point, languages switched from being like .py files to .json files. So we could just update the same test functionality to support JSON. We could probably, since they're JSON files, we could probably, just have it add some sort of functionality where it just downloads a particular test language directly from the server and then just shows that to you. Like we could probably make it even easier, just add something in the game where there's just like try test language, like enter your test language ID, something like that. If anyone wants to experiment with that, like it probably, you could hack that in like yourself if you wanted. It would, just look at like with the language stuff in the game is like basically where it reads a JSON file and applies that as the language. So we would just have to do something where it, instead of reading a file, it just reads it from like my server. So yeah, or you could, just give it a URL or something like that. So yeah, we should evolve that. I do plan, item 3,000,057 on my to-do list is revamping the language system. I mentioned that earlier. And one of the things there would be like an easier testing system where like you change something on the online UI and then like poke a button and you just like see it in your game. Like that would be super cool. What is gibberish for? So gibberish was originally actually just a test language. It was basically so I could just put gibberish in there and then flip my language to gibberish in the game and make sure that like everything is in gibberish. It's kind of like to make sure that I didn't forget to translate something. And that's still kind of what it's for. Yeah, that's basically it. It's also become, like I try to like write in gibberish stuff that's a little bit longer than the normal thing just to make sure that things like fit. But I should probably make a different language for that. A lot of games actually, they have an automatic language you can switch to, like when you're developing it, that'll actually just like double everything. So every word, it'll just like repeat the word just to make sure that like it fit your UI can hold long words, Ability to get tickets by doing different missions every day. Yeah, this is like the by switching it so that tokens are the thing you buy instead of tickets. This does open up the option for this, like daily missions and stuff. Again, there's kind of a limit, and like don't have bandwidth to like script out daily missions, but you know, hopefully we can get there or something. But that's kind of a bummer with right now, like tickets being the thing you earn by playing games, but also the purchase currency that makes it kind of hard for me to balance. You know, if I make it, because I need some people to buy tickets in order to pay for my servers and pay for my rent and stuff like that. So it's like I can't make them too easy to get in the game. It's like, you know, it's tricky to balance. So that's why by switching to tokens, I plan to kind of revamp how that works. So tickets will be like the in-game thing, and it'll be okay to make them easier to get and stuff like that. And then tokens will be like more of a special thing that is like only purchased and only used for specific stuff. Actually, checking dev.ballistica.net today should be safe. I am I'm mostly working on workspaces and asset packages, and I probably won't break workspaces. And asset packages should be locked off to you if you don't have a particular account ID. So, I mean, you could probably like figure out how to hack it and maybe find something you could do with them. But you should just, if you go to ballistica.net/asset packages, you should just get like a not ready yet little warning at the moment. But very soon you will get this lovely UI with your asset packages and your published versions, etc., etc. But yeah, I would love to have more like this. I'll talk about more of this in the future with leagues and stuff too. I've been thinking about this a lot in terms of like I'd love for people to be able to like make their own situations where you can award your own league tickets, or you know, something like that, like have your own little mini economy. Like that'd be super cool. So I'm trying to think of, you know, the squad system and league system as like this little individual leagues which maybe have their own individual prizes or tournaments or currencies or things like that, without making it too complicated. But and then, you know, all the classic bomb squad stuff would basically just be one existing league. It would just be a league called Classic or something, you know. But then other people could make their own leagues, and then, you know, when people jump in the game, it would just show them like the most common or the most popular leagues, which could just be like free play or super intense ladder competitive play, whatever. Yes, I am on this. I will be pinging folks to try to help me reproduce and fix this issue. That's the first thing I'm going to do today once the stream is over, which we are already over time, so I need to wrap up. Noopton, are you, quick question, are you on the current version of the game, or do you know what version you're running? I'm just kind of curious, like, who's running into this? Is it everybody? Or is it older versions of the game, or is it more common in older versions? Like, are you 1.7.35 or 1.7.34 or 1.7.19? I had heard that number a few times. Oh, okay. All right, well, I will, and where are you located, out of curiosity? I'm just... Oh, okay, so there's no excuse then. I need to fix something. So sorry about that. Whoever's having login issues, I will try to get to the bottom of this. Oh, how do sales work? I believe sales are particular to your account. I could be, oh wait, I'm not, I'd have to double check. Either they're particular to your account or there's like different groups and it's particular to your group. Yeah, I'd have to double check. It's been a while since I implemented sales. Okay, it might, I mean, 1734 should work. You might try updating. There should be on the Google Play Store and the test builds, there should be 1735. Could you possibly give that a try and let me know if that works? If it doesn't work, you don't have to let me know, but if that fixes it, it would be good to know. Super ultra alpha asset package access. I do, like I said, I do have to think about how we do access and stuff because like I want you to be able to make asset packages or whatever, even if it's like stuff I wouldn't be able to release. So I do want to make it easy to like share with your friends. So my plan is just to have like testers, which is basically making it really easy to like add your groups of friends or whatever people you want to play your asset packages with. So I'm trying to decide if that should be like probably on a per asset package basis. You'll come down here and there'll be some sort of like testers for this package, and then you can add or remove people's IDs. Um, or maybe once we have like a friend list or something, you'll just be able to like share with all my friends or something. There'll have to be some sort of limit. I don't want people going through and adding like writing a script to add 100,000 testers, stuff like that. But I do want it to be like realistically usable for you know testing, like I said, or just playing custom stuff that you've built. Oh, it's not letting you download 1735. I'll have to double check. I thought there was 1735 on the store. Are you on Android or is this Mac? Oh, Amazon TV Stick. Okay. Oh, I haven't updated 1735 for Amazon yet. Sorry. 1735 is technically still like a work in progress. It's just been kind of that way for a while. Even though I have like released it once or twice. Um, so yeah, if you go to downloads. Okay, so good to know you're on Amazon. Um, but yeah, the change log, there's still a few. 1735 has a decent amount of stuff in it actually, but 1734 should still definitely work. So, but yeah, there's a few like work in progress bits that I still need to either fix or finish or remove them from the work in progress part. Way to make the characters giant. Not really. I mean, you could. Unfortunately, all the physics and stuff, it's very hard coded to those specific sizes. You'd have to go into like the spaz.cc file and add like a scaling factor. But then when you scale stuff, like the physics behaves totally differently. So it would be a bit of work, unfortunately. There's ways to make it work. I learned some tricks at Pixar in terms of like doing physics in a way that is like scalable. So once I can like bring that stuff to bear, again, maybe Scene V2 or Spaz V2 or something like that. At some point, it would be great to have like scalable characters, but right now it would just be a lot of work. It's like if you hear people talk about physics, there's physical differences why an ant is a different shape than an elephant. Like basically volume scales faster than surface area, and so like the shape of something that is small has to be completely different than the shape of something that is big because just the physics works different. So it's kind of similar in the game. Like if you scaled Spaz up and just like scaled up the joint strength, it's like he would probably like collapse. He'd be so heavy, something like that. You'd have to like recalibrate things and make them like lighter um, or you can like cheat physics, and so those rules don't hang true. Where like anyway, I'll get into that later. There's some fun stuff you can do to make things scalable, but yeah. Yeah, what language? Let me know. I'd be happy to add it. Shrek character. See, stuff like this, it would be cool to do, like a Shrek character skin, but obviously you'd need, like a license or something, which could be fun. Like that'd be a neat point to get to. I mean, there's a lot of games that have that. Like Fortnite has like everyone in it. It'd be cool to get to the point where I could have like a Shrek skin or something. I mean, you can have something that is like a parody or like loosely inspired by Shrek, obviously, but to actually have Shrek, like you'd have to definitely do some licensing, legal agreementy stuff, which yeah, do not have bandwidth for, or I'm sure they would not be interested in at the moment. But if the game gets big after 2.0 or something, maybe. Yeah, like Grumbledorf. He's kind of, he's an homage to various wizards and things. Yeah, it's little Gandalf, little Dumbledore, little grumbly, yeah, whatever. Or so yeah, that's most of the characters in the game is kind of like inspired by things I'm fond of, but not exactly that. Lowest ping is 63. Okay. Where exactly are you? Like, I'd be curious. Hopefully, we can get a closer server to you at some point. Looking, checking in on our submarine map here. Um, yeah, depending on where you are. I mean, most the public servers are mostly running on these little magenta dots. So depending on where you are, sometimes there's a closed server, sometimes there's not. I'm trying to spin up as many servers as I can. Obviously, like this part of Europe and Asia is not well covered. I feel bad about that, but Amazon needs to make more servers. Covered pretty well here, but there's not a ton of. Well, I guess everyone's sleeping there right now. I need one right here. There's a ton of, like, not at this time of day, but there's a ton of people like right around here, and the closest server is like Florida or Anyway, submarine spotted below. Oh, I have a server on Hawaii. Ooh, there's someone playing in Hawaii, but for some reason they're connected to California instead, or Oregon instead of Hawaii, it seems. Oh yeah, there we go. There's a submarine. All right. Possibly some submarines out here. Those might be islands. Hard to tell. But yeah, no deep sea submarines at the moment. Like I said a few versions ago, I revamped like when the game starts up, like how it locates the nearest server. And I think this has improved things. There's like fewer of these lines going across across the ocean than there used to be, I think. So I think most people are finding servers close to them. It used to be like there was a lot more lines where like someone would start the game in North America and decide that obviously they should connect to the server over in Poland or something like that, So trying to reduce that case. Oh yeah, no Antarctica. I don't have no servers on Antarctica. So only 6 out of the 7 continents are covered at the moment. Ooh, what's this? Ooh, that's interesting. Is that a slope or is that just the camera? It's kind of cool. A little bit dark, if anything. But yeah, it could be interesting dynamics with if it's possible to get up there or something. Steam user in Antarctica. Wow. I would be curious what the ping from Antarctica is. Like what server one connects to from Antarctica. I am single dot in east of Russia. Oh, wow. Oh, that's something you see yourself. Okay. There are. Yeah, there. Yeah, this just shows like who's connected at the immediate moment. There might. So yeah, some of you might see yourselves here. And these dots, it's all based on like estimations based on your IP address. So it's not like using GPS or anything. So it might not be accurate. Like I was running into one case where I connected over my phone, and even though I'm in California, like my location was showing up as like New York. So it was like, oh, that's a few thousand miles off. So it's not always accurate. But also means I'm not stalking you or anything. I don't know exactly where you all are.
Тренируешь? А на одной сможешь? Нет, на одной давай. Ага, может еще, блядь, без рук можно? Слабо.
What? Oh shoot! Yeah. The physics are a little different.
Монстр, блядь.
That's awesome. Oh shucks! All right. Well, it is way after time. I have run over a ton here. I need to get to work. So all right. Well, we should cut this short. Anyone have any last questions or comments? We need a name for this week. What have we talked about? What's a good name for this week's video? 1.8 when? That's a good name for every week's video. All right, I'll give it some thought. All right. Anyway, well, I have a while for it to compress on YouTube, so got some time to think. Final thoughts on max asset package storage per V2 account. My thought is, I mean, I do want to encourage people like who are doing more than just like minor tinkering to, you know, just, well, for tokens, it'll cost like tokens to get storage. And I do plan on making like a $1 token option or something just for people that want to like buy something very small. So I'm hopeful that, you know, if people are wanting to mess around with asset packages, you know, just throw $1 in, buy some tokens and buy some space. Just again, because my servers are very expensive and I do need to like make enough money to pay server bills so I can expand and do more server stuff and all that. So yeah, we'll have to find a balance. I want to try to give people a decent amount for free, but also, you know, again, got to pay for servers. So I do have to, you know, if someone starts using a lot of space, I need to charge for that. And we'll have to see like how many people make asset packages and stuff too. Like it might just be worth it to give people a good amount of free space. So anyway, there might start to be other stuff like storing, I was thinking like replays or something. You could store that in your account, you know, if you can expand account space. So there's different options. We'll see. So definitely don't have any final thoughts yet, but we'll talk more about that later. Merge update checker. Oh, quick question on update checker. Where does that check from, like to see if the game is up to date? That's one thought I'd have is like there's test builds and there's official releases and, you know, there's like various, is it just like the test builds page? Which I also need to, all right, I should stop talking about this. We should take that offline, but yeah. Oh, it tries to check a page that doesn't exist yet. Oh, okay. Well, I'll try to take a look at that. First things first, I want to look at these connection issues, try to deal with that. But then, yeah, I should take a look at PRs and things. So, and I should get asset packages working. So, yeah, lots to do. The V1 master server. Okay. Well, when possible, I prefer to add things to the V2 master server because V1 master server will, at some point in the future, be going away. Probably not for a long time, but I'd prefer anytime I'm adding something, I'd prefer to add it to the V2 if possible. So yeah, again, V1 will be sticking around for a long time since I updated it to Python 3. There's no imminent reason to shut it down. But longer term, yeah, V2 is where it's at. V2 will last forever. Yay. By next coffee. I hope to, but I'm doubtful. I have a minor little trip thing coming up this next week, so I'm gonna have some visitors and we're going places, and so that'll kind of reduce my work time, unfortunately, a little bit. So I don't think final 1.8 by this next week, but I'm working as fast as I can. This asset package stuff is super exciting and trying to get it all slapped together as fast as I can. So that's all I can promise. So anyway, 1.8 when? Yeah, that probably should be the title for this video. So, all right, well, yeah, I gotta cut us off now, and so it's been fun. I'll try to lurk here on chat a little bit, pinging folks about connection issues and this and that, trying to get to the bottom of that. But anyway, yeah, so been fun, folks. So I will talk to all of you folks later. So peace out.